when we talk about the trade deadline. One reliever, two relievers. I think that would be the main target. And under the radar, outfield, I think, is something that should definitely be looked at. DJ Stewart has struggled mightily. Tyrone Taylor kind of flashes, but is an inconsistent player. And Carlos Mendoza was a bit non-committal, last week over the weekend about Starling Marte's status. And he's still sore, still not feeling right. So he hasn't even begun baseball activities. Starling Marte sounds like someone who's a while away from being back. And if there's an opportunity to acquire, like a fringe starter, fourth outfield type that could kind of plug that hole temporarily until Marte is able to return and maybe be an improvement over DJ Stewart upon the Marte's return, I think that would be something that the Mets should look into.
It's a good call out, Joe. I mean, that quote about Marte wasn't shocking. I mean, with the stage of his career, Marte's body is at. When Marte plays, Marte is still a big, big factor at the plate right now. We know he's become a bit of a liability in right field, but the guy can hit. And the Mets are going to want, if you're the Mets right now, you have to be thinking, you don't want to rush Marte back, because if you can kind of hold here at this wild card spot, you want Marte back for the end of August, beginning of September, rather than rushing him back. And to your point about potentially another outfielder, it's harsh, but it's kind of a minor miracle DJ Stewart is still on this roster. I mean, he's a negative out there in the outfield. For a while, it felt like the argument was, well, he draws his walks and hits home runs. But in this world where nobody cares about batting average anymore, and trust me, I'm a proponent of, I get that. You can't be hitting under 190 and 180 throughout the entire course of a season, especially when the home runs kind of dry up a little bit. So and if you're walking, that's nice, but if you're not a threat on the base paths, it kind of takes away the value of the walk. The beauty of the walk is if you're a guy that could swipe a base or go first to third in this era. And not to just harp on Stewart, but to move to Taylor, who we like. And Taylor is ideal for his role because Taylor is a plus defensively, a plus on the base paths. It's funny when you look at his numbers. He's had huge moments this year, so many that you wouldn't think he's a guy that has an OPS of 664. Taylor he doesn't get on base any more than his hits. He's not a guy that draws walks. So I agree with you, Joe. I think, another depth outfielder, and while you're waiting for Marte, would be a savvy play by the Mets and is something that in theory shouldn't be expensive at the deadline.